What is love bombing? Be wary of intense affection and affection a new person heaps on you when you meet. Being over-charming and totally interested in you are signs of manipulative behavior. Cults and narcissistic people use love bombing to hook new people in by turning on the love big time to ensnare them. Don't be fooled by this ruse. Showering you with attention and affection messes with your mind. Love-starved people can get hooked in and become addicted to this attention. Love is then withdrawn and put-downs and controlling behavior start. Love bombing is a mind control technique used to steal your sense of yourself.
Love bombing. It's a technique that cults use to recruit new members. They find lonely, vulnerable people. They approach them.
And they shower them with attention.
They compliment them. They make them feel a sense of belonging. It's much more devious and powerful than that.
There is nothing new about the term love bombing. The term has been around since the 1970s, except it has traditionally been ascribed as a practice by religious organizations and cults in relation to the indoctrination of new recruits. According to a number of different sources, the term love bombing was coined by the Unification Church of the United States, founded by Sun Myung Moon, which is why individuals in the cult are often referred to as Moonies. The display of affection toward new and potential converts, love bombing, which might be interpreted as a kindness or an idealistic manifestation of devotees' belief that their relationship to spiritual truth and divine love enables them to radiate love and win others to truth, is also commonly interpreted as a sinister, coercive technique. Margaret Singer, 1977. There is little secret or surprise in the contention that we like people who agree with us, who say nice things to us, who seem to possess such positive attributes as warmth, understanding, and compassion, and who would go out of their way to do things for us. Cults use love bombing as an emotionally draining recruitment strategy that is a form of positive reinforcement. More specifically, they noted that cults make great ceremony of showing individual consideration for their members. One of the most commonly cited cult recruitment techniques is generally known as love bombing. Prospective recruits are showered with attention, which expands to affection and then often grows into a plausible simulation of love. This is the courtship phase of the recruitment ritual. The leader wishes to seduce a new recruit into the organization's embrace, slowly habituating them to its strange ritual and complex belief system. At this early stage, resistance will be at its highest. Individual consideration is a perfect means to overcome it by blurring the distinctions between personal relationship, rhetorical constructs, and bizarre behaviors. This is how you hide in plain sight. Love bombing is camouflage. Notorious cult leaders Jim Jones, Charles Manson, and David Koresh weaponized love bombing using it to con followers into committing mass suicide and murder. Pimps and gang leaders use love bombing to encourage loyalty and obedience as well. Netflix has some good series about cults, and this one, Aquarius, about Charles Manson, will really show you what he does, the methods he uses. First love bombing, and then violence and threatening. It will give you a really good idea what love bombing is. Dr. Archer says that love bombing works because humans have a natural need to feel good about who they are, and often we can't fill this need on our own. He says that there are times of high susceptibility to being love bombed, such as losing a job or going through a divorce, losing a loved one, being in a personal crisis. Irrespective of why or where the susceptibility has arisen, Archer claims that love bombers are experts at detecting low self-esteem and exploiting it. Narcissists and psychopaths may actually possess empathy. They may even be hyperempathic, attuned to the minutest signals emitted by their victims and endowed with a penetrating X-ray vision. They tend to abuse their empathetic skills by employing them exclusively for personal gain, the extraction of narcissistic supply, or in the pursuit of antisocial and sadistic goals. They regard their ability to empathize as another weapon in their arsenal. The paradox of love bombing is that people who use it aren't always seeking targets that broadcast insecurity for all to see. On the contrary, the love bomber is also insecure, so to boost their ego, the target must at least seem like a great catch. Maybe she's a beautiful woman who's lonely because her beauty intimidates people, or he's the guy with the great career whose wife left him for his best friend, or she's the hard-nosed businesswoman who's avoided marriage and motherhood because her childhood was so traumatic. On paper, these folks are attractive, but something makes them doubt their own value. Along comes the love bomber to shower them with affection and attention. The dopamine rush of the new romance is vastly more powerful than it would be if the target had a healthy self-esteem. The love bomber feels a need the target can't fill on their own. So in my case, I was criticized by my dad all the time. And I grew up thinking that something was wrong with me and that I couldn't do anything right. So when somebody comes along and then suddenly tells you, oh wow, you are so spiritual and you should definitely meditate with a true master who can guide you, and they just tell you how great you are and how well you fit for the spiritual life and stuff like that. Then suddenly you think, oh wow, yeah, I could try it. If you don't know what the person is doing, you will fall for it. Because when you are suddenly being told something good about yourself after all that criticism, you will bloom like a flower. Love bombing is a tactic often employed by cults in a way of luring prospective members in. Current members typically love bomb potential or desired new recruits by showering them with affection, praise, and offers of friendship, which is a complete illusion. As soon as you join the cult, they drop you like a hot potato. Because then they have achieved what they wanted, so there is no need to be nice anymore. You are just like anybody else. Unless you can manage to become an important member of the cult and climb up in the hierarchy. If the guru gives you a lot of attention, talks to you, that means to other cult members you are important, so they will treat you with more respect than they would treat anybody else who doesn't get much attention. Experts warn that this seemingly kind and welcoming practice is often the first step in a mind control brainwashing process that leads to religious conversion or involvement with a group that may be harmful to its membership or society. Love bombing seems to be like emotional pheromones. And love bombing does the same as pheromones. It will bypass your rational thinking. A member of the group told me that they were instructed to give us special treatment and to be extra nice to us. I was showered with attention, and people found just about everything I talked about interesting. I felt a sense of belonging, and I felt understood. I felt that I was in a place where real love was going on. Love bombing is a dangerous red flag you may miss. But once you know what to look for, you might get a weird gut feeling when somebody is a bit too sweet and it feels a bit yucky and you start to feel uncomfortable. Those are the red flags you can listen for. In previous videos I have talked about this very good book by Gavin de Becker, The Gift of Fear. When a date or somebody else you meet will not take no for an answer, this is a big red flag. The threat of violence surrounds us every day, but we can protect ourselves by learning to trust and act on our own gut instincts. Gavin de Becker describes the PINs, pre-incident indicators. 1. Forced teaming. This is when a person implies that they have something in common with their chosen victim, acting as if they have a shared predicament when that isn't really true. Speaking in we terms is a mark of this. 2. Charm and niceness. This is being polite and friendly to a chosen victim in order to manipulate him or her by disarming their mistrust. That's the classic love bombing. 3. Too many details. If a person is lying, they will add excessive detail to make themselves sound more credible to their chosen victim. 4. Typecasting. An insult is used to get a chosen victim who would otherwise ignore one to engage in conversation to counteract the insult. For example, "Oh, I bet you're too stuck up to talk to a guy like me." The tendency is for the chosen victim to want to prove the insult is untrue. 5. Loan sharking. Giving unsolicited help to a chosen victim and anticipating they'll feel obliged to extend some reciprocal openness in return. 6. The unsolicited promise. A promise to do or not do something when no such promise is asked for. This usually means that such a promise will be broken. For example, an unsolicited "I promise I'll leave you alone after this" usually means the chosen victim will not be left alone. Similarly, an unsolicited "I promise I won't hurt you" usually means the person intends to hurt their chosen victim. 7. Discounting the word no. Refusing to accept rejection. If somebody does that to me now, I run for the hills. I hate when people can't accept my no. Of course, when somebody gives you an honest compliment, that's not necessarily love bombing. But if those compliments keep coming one after the other, that might be a sign that somebody is love bombing you. Narcissists use this tactic as well. But if it comes from a group and if they surround you and do not respect your boundaries and want to keep you, run for the hills.
Run to the hills, run for your lives. Run to the hills, run for your lives.
When somebody pulls the love bombing card, it's like showing you his or her best colors, like a peacock dancing around you. It's all camouflage. It's an attempt to influence another person with over-the-top displays of attention and affection. Over the top. It feels sticky. It feels yucky. It's way too much sweetness. That's the feeling you are looking for. Pink fluffy unicorns. You might really feel uncomfortable by so much attention and compliments and stuff they throw at you. They might talk about your future, making plans, and there is another thing they do. They might gaze into your eyes. Not everybody does that. But if they appear to really stare or deeply look into your eyes, it might start to make you feel uncomfortable. So you see, this is intense, and it makes you feel uncomfortable. If somebody looks like that at you, run.
Eye gaze. This is a 2-day exercise. You have to practice for at least 2
They
days.
even have
My
classes
friend
for
Michael
that
Ellsberg
shit.
invented a singles event called eye gazing. It is similar to speed dating, but different in one fundamental respect. No speaking is permitted. It involves gazing into the eyes of each partner for 3 minutes at a time. Is to maintain eye contact, not like a psychopath, not like a serial killer, but just maintain comfortable eye contact until someone else breaks eye contact. Or at least to make that effort, okay? Some tips. Number 1, focus on one eye and be sure to blink occasionally so you don't look like a psychopath, as noted, or get your ass kicked. All right, so if you try to focus on both eyes, you're going to bounce around like this. So just focus on one eye, and you can kind of shift that focus, but it makes it a lot easier. That's recommendation number 1. Number 2, in conversation, maintain eye contact when you are speaking. It's easier, much easier to maintain eye contact when you're listening to someone. But when you're talking, you may have the tendency, as I did for a long time, and still do occasionally, sort of looking away, looking up. It's a lot harder to maintain eye contact when you're talking. All right, so focus on doing that. Number 3, practice with people bigger or more confident than yourself. So if you're walking down the sidewalk and you're maintaining eye contact with someone, if a passerby asks you what the hell you're staring at, just smile and respond, "Sorry about that, I thought you were an old friend." All right, there's no need to get yourself into trouble. You don't have to put yourself in any risky situations. These comfort challenges are designed to show you that you can face discomfort. The risks are more imagined than real.
Another quote by Margaret Singer: "As soon as any interest is shown by the recruits, they may be love-bombed by the recruiter or other cult members. This process is feigning friendship and interest in the recruit. Love bombing is a coordinated effort, usually under the direction of leadership, that involves long-term members flooding recruits and newer members with flattery, verbal seduction, affectionate but usually non-sexual touching, and lots of attention to their every remark. Love bombing, or the offer of instant companionship, is a deceptive ploy accounting for many successful recruitment drivers." So some also use the NLP methods. Love bombing can be used together with the NLP method, neuro-linguistic programming. It is a form of brainwashing. The tools taught as NLP are mostly not unique to NLP. They can be found elsewhere and are generally aimed at manipulating, misleading, and distracting. Rapport and mimicry are used to gain someone's confidence by faking likeness. Embed commands are used to manipulate people into unwittingly being controlled. Many techniques are designed to distract attention from the truth.